All right, algebra 2 in Nahisi. All right, we're going to do some review and we're going to do some new for our quadratics test that we're going to take next week. You know, you got that big test coming up. We want you to do well. So let's stay tuned in today and let's make sure we're learning. All right, so let's do this together. I'm going to walk you through some and then you're going to do some. Well, you're going to be doing it while we're doing it, so either way you're going to do some. Write the equation of a polynomial with zeros at x is equal to 6 and x is equal to negative 7. And pay attention to this. This is important. Now we're going to start getting a little more advanced. All right, let a equals 1. All right, well, let's see. We're going to write the equation of a polynomial, a quadratic. And remember, a quadratic looks like this. Y equals a times, well, there's different ways we can write it. We can write it like this, x squared plus bx plus c, or we can do vertex form, y equals x minus h squared plus k, or y equals a times x minus root 1 times x minus root 2. All right, this is important. We need to know all three of these, and we're going to start getting to be better at all this. Zeros. What's another word for zeros? Roots. So, what form are we going to use if we're writing an equation here? Well, we're talking about roots and zeros. So we're going to come over here and look at this factored form, because here's a root, r1, here's a root, r2. So let's do this. Y equals, well, go back to your factored form, a. What's a? Oh, they gave me a. A is just 1 times x minus, well, what's our first root? Root 1 is 6, so we're going to put x minus 6. The next root is x minus, what's the root they told me? Negative 7. So we'll put minus a negative 7. And now we're going to simplify. 1, do we need the 1 there anymore? No. So it's x minus 6 times, what does this one turn into? We have a minus and a minus, so that turns into plus, plus. So it's x plus 7. All right, so it's x minus 6 times x plus 7. And boom, voila. What you just did is you were given information and you wrote an equation from it. You were given roots and a, and look what you did. You wrote it in factored form. All right. Problem 2. Write the equation of a polynomial with zeros at 3 and negative 4, and which goes through the point 552.2. We've never done this before, so this is going to be new. You need to know this. It goes through this point. It has these zeros. And what does it say you need to do? You will need to find a. That's important. You need to find a. Let's learn how to do this together. Okay, so we're given roots. So would you agree that we're going to set it up with factored form? Hopefully your answer to that was yes. We're going to use factored form. So let's write factored form. Y equals a. Well, what's a? Do I know a? No, I don't. So y equals a times x minus root 1 right here. Could pick whichever one, I don't care. I'm going to put 3, x minus 3 times x minus, parentheses, negative 4. So That's y equals a times x minus 3 times x. This one, minus minus. So we go plus plus. So that means it's x minus 3 times x plus 4. Okay, now we're going to get tricky. Now we are going to get tricky. We need to find a. Well, let's find out how to do that. Come back to this point right here. Have we used that yet? No, we have not. You think we might need to? Your answer should probably be yes. We need to use that. Let's do that. What's this value right here? Is it an x value or a y value? Well, it's an x value. X values go in where my x's are. That's going to be important. What about this 52.2? Is that an x value or a y value? It's a y value. Well, y values go in to where y values are. Maybe you're seeing the connection now. Let's write out what we have. Let's plug in y. Y is 52.2. I'm plugging it into right here. 52.2. That should be this color. Equals a. Do I know a? Nope, I don't know a. I'm finding a. A times x. Oh, what am I replacing x with? Oh, I'm going to follow back my arrows. I'm replacing x with 5. So I'm going to put 5 minus, well, 5 minus what? Right here. Take a look. 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 times, what goes into this x? Same thing. 5. 5 plus 4. Alright, let's simplify. 52 equals 5 minus 3 is 2. 5 plus 4 is 9. Ooh, now we're about to find a, aren't we? Yep. You got it. Red Hot Scott Award goes to you all today. 52.2 equals a times 2 times 9 is 18. Alright, so this says a times 18 equals 52.2. How do I solve for a? Well, I need to do divide by 18. 52.2 divided by 18, and that will give me my a. Let's find out what that is as a number. Plug it on into your calculator. 52.2 divided by 18, and it's 2.9, so a equals 2.9. Now, did we answer our question? Let's see. Write the equation. Oh, we need to find a, so let's come back to our equation. We just found out a is equal to 2.9, and now we are done. So hopefully you find that problem cool. It's something new, and now you know how to do it. Alright, there's your answer, right here. Okay, solve by factoring. I think you can probably do this well by now. Well, I know you can. Needs to add to -5. Needs to multiply to -24. Well, two numbers that do that. Think about them for a couple minutes. See if you can come up with it. Oh, I've got it. -8 and 3. Does that multiply to -24? 8, 16, 24, yep. Does it add to -5? Yep. So, I know this factors easily into x minus 8 times x plus 3, and that's equal to 0. What are we doing? We're solving. We're solving, 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 solving. So that means we now need to set both of these equal 0. X minus 8 equals 0. That means x equals 8. X plus 3 equals 0. So that means x equals negative 3. Did you solve? Yes. We answered our question, which was solve. Find the roots. Find the zeros. We did that. Can you do this one? Yes, you can. I'll let you do it, and so you can pause, and then I'll just go through it. Factor out what's common. Can I factor out an 8x? No, because 8 doesn't go into 12. But, so what's the biggest number that goes into 8 and 12? 4. What's the biggest variable that goes into x squared and x? X. 4x times what gives me 8x squared? 2x. 4x times what gives me a negative 12x? Negative 3. That's equal to 0. Boom. It's factored, but we need to solve. Alright, so we're going to set this equal to 0 and this one equal to 0. So 4x equals 0, or 2x minus 3 equals 0. So that means divide by 4 and you get x is equal to 0, or 2x is equal to 3 by adding 3. Divide by 2 and you get x is equal to 3 divided by 2, or that's 1.5. So there are your two roots, x equals 0 and x equals 3/2. Easy peasy, right? All right. Another one we're going to do today, solving this. This is something we haven't done for a while. So it might be a little new, but that's okay. And we're not going to do this one because we're not going to do this one because we're not ready to do this yet. So you can cross that one out. We're not going to do that one yet. We're going to pretend it doesn't exist. You don't exist, you don't exist, you don't exist. Don't exist. Alright. So we are going to do this one. Well, we're trying to solve, so that means we need to get x's on one side and numbers on the other side. So let's try and do that. If I'm solving this, the first thing I need to do is move over this negative 11. Alright, so I'm going to add 11 to both sides. First step, add 11 to both sides. So that means I have x minus 6 squared equals 11. Okay, and now I can just add 6 to both sides, right? And that's incorrect. You cannot do that. How do you get rid of this square? What's the opposite of a square? You know this. To get rid of a square, you need to do, ding, 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 remember this one? Square root. Alright, you need to do square root. Alright, so second step right here, square root both sides. That's going to be step 2. Alright, so we're going to do x minus 6, and we're squaring it, and that's equal to 11, and we're going to do the square root of both sides. Square root of both sides. Square root of both sides. And what's going to happen here? Square root cancels with the square, and so now the square root and the square are gone. And now we just have x minus 6 equals I don't have the square root button. Equals square root of 11. Okay, almost done. What do we have to do now? Well, we have to add 6 to both sides. So step 3, add 6 both sides. X equals 6 plus what we had before, which was square root of 11. And there's your answer. If you're saying to yourself that we missed an answer, you're right. There is one answer that's missing, and that's because this should be plus or minus square root of 11. When we took the square root over here, it should be plus or minus. And we'll talk about that more. Just know that when you're solving for something, if you take the square root, you're going to have a plus or a minus answer. And we'll talk more about that. But just wanted you to see this. Alright. Convert to vertex form. This is something you need to be able to do. And it's not that bad. Watch this. This is general form, right? Okay. General form. What do you know about that? Look back at your notes. To find the axis of symmetry, you do x is equal to negative b divided by 2a. To find the y value of vertex, you do f of negative b divided by 2a. You just plug in the number you got here, and then you'll have the y value of vertex. So your vertex, you're going to have negative b divided by 2a and f of negative b divided by 2a. We already did this one a while ago, so this is going back. So, let's do this together. First step is find axis of symmetry. X is equal to let's do it on here. Negative b. b is 4 divided by 2 times, what's a? A is in front of this x squared, and it's a 1, so it's 2 times 1. So x is equal to negative 4 divided by 2. So that's equal to negative 2. So we found the axis of symmetry. We did that. X equals negative 2. Now, to find the y value of vertex, we have to plug in to our function f of negative 2. Alright, let's find out what that is. That's equal to, well, we're plugging it back into this function, negative 2, into everywhere you see an x. So it's parentheses, negative 2 squared plus 4 times, what's x? X is negative 2, so we'll put in a negative 2. And then we still have a minus 1. Let's simplify. What's negative 2 squared? That's 4. What's 4 times negative 2? That's minus 8. What's negative 1? That's minus 1. 4 minus 8 gives me a negative 4, and we still have a minus 1. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. Boom. Now you have your y value of your vertex. So you have your vertex right here. We have the x value is negative 2, and we have the y value is negative 5. I want you to think for a second. If you know the vertex, can you write it in vertex form? Answer is, ding ding ding, yes, you can. So we're going to write it, last step, write in vertex form. Vertex form is this. F of x is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. We're going to ignore this one for right now. This one does not exist right now. Let's plug in what we know. Do we know a? Do we know a? Yep, right there. A is 1 times x minus, what's h? H is right here. H comma k. H is negative 2. So we're going to plug in a negative 2. And that's squared plus k. Do we know k? Yep, k is right here. This is h. This is k. So it's plus a negative 5. So let's simplify. Do we need the 1 there anymore? No. So it's x minus a negative 2. That's the same thing as plus 2. And it's squared. Plus a negative 5 is the same thing as minus 5. All right. And let's see. We're trying to get it to vertex form. That looks like this. Is this vertex form? Yes. So we are done. F of x is equal to x plus 2 squared minus 5. And that's vertex form. So there's another thing you just learned. Easy peasy. All right. I think that should be enough for today. And then you can try these problems. And yeah, I think you can try these problems and just practice with these quadratics for our test next week. All right, so good work, and we'll see you Monday. See you Monday, and you'll probably hear me again tomorrow. Toodaloo.